Welcome to episode 63 of the official podcast for Guardian 1, a Destiny group dedicated to the prosperity of Guardians everywhere. We broadcast live Thursdays at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 Eastern, right here on twitch.tv/Guardian 1 Network. My name is Remy, and tonight I am joined by River.
I am ready to sit fools down in the trials.
Jez.
Good morning.
And Agrios.
Greetings, Guardians.
We are going to be talking about all things Destiny, but first, housekeeping.
All right, everybody. Thank you for listening in on the podcast, however it is that you are choosing to listen. Be sure to follow Guardian 1 on Twitter at G1Net. That's G, the number 1, N-E-T. In addition, be sure to check out the Guardian 1 website at guardian1.net. You can also send us feedback to our email, feedback@guardian1.net. We also have a Bungie.net forums group that's currently at 223 members. We utilize the forums for comments and feedback, so be sure to join the conversations going on there. Big thank you to all those currently in the Twitch chat. As Remy said, man, I'm jacking up today. It's like I haven't done this before. As Remy said at the top of the podcast, you can watch the show live at twitch.tv/Guardian1 Network. We broadcast every Thursday at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific. And if you can't catch the show live, you can always search for Guardian 1 on iTunes, as well as the YouTube channel at youtube.com/Guardian1 Network. Guardian 1 is a proud member of the Guardian Radio Network. So be sure to check out the Guardian Radio Network website at theguardiansofdestiny.com. There you'll find all the different podcasts that's part of the network, including the flagship podcast Guardian Radio. They broadcast every Monday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Pacific on twitch.tv/Guardian Radio. You can also follow their Twitter account at Guardians of D and the YouTube channel youtube.com/Guardians of D. Other podcasts include Aim Assist Gaming, TTL Party Chat, Robust Radio, and Ghosts and Echoes if you want to listen to the Grimoire in an audio format, which is awesome. And I do understand that a lot of these podcasts aren't really going anymore, like TTL Party Chat and Robust Radio. I'm just saying they're still there if you want to listen to them.
Definitely. And you know what? It's always interesting to go back and listen to thoughts and ideas of a specific time and place. Like this is like a Destiny diary, sort of. You know, like when I sometimes go back and listen to older episodes because I wanted to hear, you know, a prediction I made or something like this. And I will think about, man, it's crazy to think that we were talking about this as if we didn't know what was going on because we had no idea what was about to happen. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, even just going back to listen to those for that reason, some kind of archaeological dig, if you will. But yeah,
just call me Dr. Jones.
I like it. I like it, and I'm in.
Let's see. Oh, one other thing I wanted to say was that I know we hadn't really put out the last podcast on iTunes yet. That's actually my fault, and I will be getting that to Remy here shortly after this podcast is done as well. So we'll get both of these episodes to you guys out on iTunes as soon as possible.
Man, I'm so glad that's not on me.
Yeah, it's totally not on you. It's totally on me.
You know what though? You got family and you got stuff to do that's not, you know, hanging out, having a good time, breaking down audio to its lowest common denominator so we can put it up on iTunes. Like I understand. You know what? I thought I had missed it. Like I kept checking the drive just because I thought, you know what? River had to have put it in there by now.
You know what it was is that this last week was actually my daughter's second birthday. So my wife was going crazy with birthday plans, and we had the birthday, and there was like photo shoots, and it was just all kinds of craziness all throughout the week and the weekend, and it was just I just literally didn't have enough time, in all honesty.
Yeah, and you know what else? Halo 5 dropped. I'm certain you've put a lot of time into that.
You are so funny, and I hate your face.
That was rude. That was rude of me.
No, it's totally fine.
For anyone
well
who's listening who's not also following River on Twitter, he is without Halo 5.
Unfortunately.
And it's sad. It's really sad because I have Halo 5, and I'm enjoying it as much as one can enjoy it, while also thinking this is a subpar product. Why would anyone release this? But it does. It makes me feel bad when you said you weren't going to get it. I told Velvet because I don't know. Maybe we have $60 lying around because I want you to have it. You know, like this is your jam. This is where you came from. You know, like you played Master Chief Collection. I didn't give a crap about Master Chief Collection because I played all those games previously. You know, so yeah, I don't I wish you had it. I wish you had it so I could see it through your eyes, so I could say something like, "Man, the art direction is still trash." And you could maybe tell me something that's positive about that. You know, like maybe you could turn it a different way. Well, they're trying to not be too awesome, which is what they're doing.
So to be honest, if they wanted to be awesome, they just give me the DMR more.
Is that right? Are you enjoying it?
I love DMR.
Jez?
When I have a DMR, yeah. Otherwise, I feel like I'm just subpar killing things.
Are you telling me there's no DMR?
There is, but you just run out of ammo because you're no longer near ammo respawns.
I love the DMR. I love using that one over the BR.
And then in Crucible, in multiplayer, I have unlocked the battle rifle, the Magnum, the auto rifle, no DMR, so I can't even use it there.
Sadly.
Yeah.
All right. So you, River, have an anecdote or story you would like to share with the group.
Yeah, there is actually. There's actually a couple things that I wanted to share. One thing that I wanted to add to the end of housekeeping was that we have some new Guardians added to the clan roster. The first set is on Xbox One, and it's the Elmnator, and that's the space ELMNTR. I think I'd have to double verify that. And also Natrix. Natrix is this guy that I roll with a little bit, and he's helped me out with the raid and stuff. Very helpful guy. And I know K-Dub, who's awesome, by the way. I wanted to give K-Dub a short shout out as well, because he's killing it on Guardian Radio, man. He's a great host. I guess he's permanent now, right? Unofficially permanently. I don't know.
I mean,
but he sent me the list. Oh, go ahead.
No, he's officially permanently. Yeah.
Okay, he's officially permanently. Okay.
He's officially permanent.
What I understand, yeah.
He's killing it on there, man. I'm so proud.
Studio hooked up in his closet and everything. He was showing off his. He put a whole computer setup right into his walk-in closet just so he sounds better for Guardian Radio.
That's awesome.
He's got a really sweet setup, a really nice little mic. And in all those clothes, I imagine there's very little reflective echo, so it's going to be really awesome. I'm going to invite him to become the replacement for Crimson on the second Tuesday of every month, because he's got some real life stuff he needs to attend to on the second Tuesday. So I'm going to, at some point, invite him. I wanted to do it in person. I didn't want to do it in some text. On
a podcast.
Well, now we do the podcast tomorrow. You better ask him sooner.
Well, I mean,
we're too late for him to normally be here, live. So
totally. Well, I mean, the next time it comes around is going to be sometime in November. I mean, I know that's still a ways, still a couple of days away, but last week was the second Tuesday, or maybe it wasn't. We didn't have Crimson last week, right? I don't think we did.
Wow.
Or wait, no,
sure he was there. He came in late.
He told us he was going to come late, and he wasn't sure whether he was going to be able to make it was the deal. But then he ended up making it.
I tell you what, if it wasn't for this podcast, I wouldn't have any idea what month it even was, just because time is going by so fast for me. And the only time I really get to slow down and look around me and look in the mirror and see these gray hairs is, is on podcast day.
Gosh, I know that feel.
So it's awful nice. It's awful nice to be able to sit down and just chit chat about something I love, video games. I feel like I'm living some kind of weird alternate dimension me. Like I will come up with a brilliant idea and I'll go to Flounder and I'll say, "Oh my God, I should do this." And she'll say, "You've already told me this like 10 times." And I'm like, "I need to write this down."
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, so I don't know who was on last week. It could have just been me. It could have just been me talking about Destiny, with myself, and I probably wouldn't notice. So, but yes. So shout out to all those people. Welcome to the clan. Also, I would like everybody in the clan to add me. I would like everybody in the clan to. Are we getting static here? Are we good?
I'm not sure, but I did have like the PlayStation 4 side as well.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, so we got D-Blog, Hurricane Trilby, Prustef, that's with a C, and Drew Hilliard. K-Dub sent me that list of Guardians that he added on the PlayStation 4 side, so if you're on that side, be sure to add those Guardians as well.
Excellent. Welcome to the group. Hope to play with you soon. Really hope to just play, period, but also hope to play with the group. My time has been dwindled down. Flounder got a new job, so we have different hours, and so now the baby is up at all hours in my face, and so I haven't had a chance to really sit down and play. So Destiny has become a really serious single player experience for me, where I just log in, get some bounties done, move on with my night. And I haven't had a chance to even get back into the raid. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to wait until I can just be carried through. As much as it would be nice to try and struggle up the hill of all these raid times at some point. I mean, and this is what happened with the raids of yesteryear, is everybody would go and do it, and then I had helpful people like Sharks, Agrios, all right, let's do it. Like, you don't even need to shoot anybody, Remy. We're going to do that. We were going to do this with or without you. And so I don't know. I hope to one day be able to be part of that push for world's first. Like, it's not an impossible goal. It's not. We got great people in this game. We got great people. Shark says that they can carry us now. They can carry me now, which is good to know. But yeah, at some point, I will be able to put some real time into this game and into this universe. Still so much I want to do. Still so many projects that I remember. This isn't even talking about the ones that I just rediscover every couple of weeks. Like the ones that I do have in the forefront of my mind that I haven't talked about anywhere. It's still there, and I'm still ready, and I'm still waiting. So, but yes, I would like everybody in the group to add me, because I want to be part of that circle. I want to be able to help out somebody. I want someone to send me a message and say, "Hey, we're doing this. Are you in?" And the only way that's going to happen is if I'm friends with everyone. And this actually goes for people who aren't in the group. If you would like to be my friend and you'd like to play some Destiny, if you're listening to this podcast, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that you are awesome. Because why would you listen to us prattle on about Destiny if you weren't really interested in it and or what we had to say about it, or at least aren't offended to the point where you don't listen to us? So if you're listening to this right now, I want to be your friend. I want to be your friend on PlayStation. That's Remy Auxiliary, one word, R3MYAUXILIARY. One more time. Remy Auxiliary, one word, R3MYAUXILIARY. Please, PlayStation 4 people, add me. I would tell PlayStation 3 people to add me. I do not play on the PlayStation 3, sadly.
So let me reiterate what Remy said. Go same for me. You can find my PlayStation handle on my Twitter account. And my Twitter account is at Agrios and Dendros, like you can see on the little screen there for the podcast. And it has Disgustipated as actually my PlayStation handle. You can find that spelling in my Twitter description. But one thing of note, please put like tag Guardian1 or something in your friend request. Oftentimes, like I'll use lfg.com and we'll build up a dozen or so friend invites just because I put a post on there and a whole bunch of people at once sent me a friend invite. I wouldn't want somebody I didn't know to get lost in that shuffle. So if you just stick a little note with it, says, message me Guardian1 or whatnot, I'll know to accept that one.
That's a really good point. Put that down for me as well. Actually, this is something that I want to do that is within my reach, that is something that I keep forgetting, and then I keep coming back to and thinking, oh, that's a great idea. I want to make a page on the website where there's people who wish to be added by people who wish to add. So like when somebody enters the group, I want everybody who wants those people on their friends list, like, because it feels really great. It feels really great to scroll down the list of people in Destiny and seeing Guardian1, Math Class, Guardian1. Like it's really awesome. So I'm going to make a page on the website for everybody who wants to be added to this list. That way, when somebody new joins the group, they can just have this pool of Guardians to add, because it's really easy to find other people to play with when you have 20 people to choose from. Sometimes people are two-manning Nightfalls, or they're one down from a raid, and just having that accessible is very important. And so on the Xbox side, add Jim Beardy, 2 words, Jim space Beardy. And that is a whole nother aspect of my life. This Jim Beardy was this. It was going to be a cartoon slash. Basically, it was about a guy and his dog, and the guy was sick of the world as we know it. He just wanted to play video games, and so he builds a spaceship and goes looking for intelligent life in the universe. And because it's so far away, if it's there, he had plenty of time to play video games. And so this was the premise of Jim Beardy. Like, so in case you're wondering, it's not just a weird name. It's a weird everything. But please add me on there as well. And at some point we will play Destiny. Like if this is something that you are that interested in, I mean, and you have to be. If you're listening to this podcast, you really enjoy Destiny. You really enjoy it, or you want to hear people talk about it who really enjoy it. And as much as we love it, it's not like we don't think that it has its flaws. But I tell you what, when a game like Halo 5 comes out, it really, really makes Destiny shine. Like I can't believe the directions they took Halo in. And I'm really glad that I wasn't trying to hook my wagon up to it, because it's horrible. It's horrible. At least in compared to the direction that I'm certain Bungie was taking it, because there was a huge split between where Reach ended and Halo 4 went, and then Halo 5 is going. Like there's a huge gap, like they just went in the opposite direction. So that is it from me. River, did you have anything else, and are you ready to tell your story?
I do have something else. Jez, I want to hear your gamer tags.
I just have Ryune, Rhiune for PlayStation, and I've recently changed my Xbox One to not Jez.
See, that works a little bit. Why do you guys make it so hard for everybody to add you?
Well, PlayStation hasn't had a way to change their gamer tags yet.
So lame.
See, yeah, the thing is, I had my PlayStation handle long before I had the rest of my online handles. My PlayStation handle happens to be the name of a Tool song off of the hidden track on the album the Undertow album.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah,
anywhere
we had our PlayStation thing since like high school. No, just past high school. But yeah, it's been a while.
But you would think that Sony would give you the ability to change that at least.
Man, give me the option to pay to change it.
They don't know that they're ever going to be able to provide that service, because when they created their network, like I guess the base code that like identifies you as a person has your gamer tag built into every aspect of it. Like your gamer tag for the PlayStation network is your key to everything related to you. And it's like apparently just would be a ridiculous amount of manual labor to go in and
Oh,
change
no.
the way all that code works for all
Right.
the millions.
Multi-billion-dollar company.
It's like the first time that they ever decided to do an online thing, and they're like, oh, let's just tie it to this ubiquitous thing called it a PSN ID, and then they use that as the basis for everything, and that messed everything up. Because if they just tied it to email first, you had been golden.
Yeah, it's troublesome. Like I would really like to be able to change mine to something shorter, and yeah, not being able to change it. I mean, I'm willing to pay money. I've changed my gamer tag on the Xbox probably 5 times, 6
Me
times,
too.
and I had to pay $10 every time I wanted to do that, and I did it happily. I did it happily. So
I had
So
an
there-
issue when I went to change my Xbox gamer tag. Because I went to change it, and they're like, "Oh, you've already used your free Xbox gamer tag change." Like, I did. When did I do that? And apparently, when you create your gamer tag, it creates that randomized like loaded lemon, that weird two name
Gosh,
thing,
yes.
and then it gets you to do the free name change. Then
Loaded lemon.
Interesting.
don't ask me where I picked that up.
Right. That I was going to point that out too, River. That was way funny.
I think the best I had was like exploding penguin, but that was about it.
Crannies.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yes.
Excellent.
But if you guys want to add me on PlayStation 4, it's SDF-River, and on Xbox, it's SDF Space River.
Jeez, why are you gonna be
Branding.
so difficult?
Right, gotta make it so difficult.
Why don't you just add the underscore or the hyphen?
I did add the
Xbox.
Oh, on freaking Xbox? Because I hate hyphens. I only have a hyphen on PlayStation because it's forcing me to use a hyphen.
Interesting.
Oh look, I
Pisses
got a
me
friend
off every
request
time.
already.
Oh, it pisses me off. Underscores pissing me off more. That's why I have a hyphen instead of that.
Jez has already got a friend request, and I haven't. Yeah, make sure you put something about G1 in there. And the longer the sentence, say how about this? Put I like your podcast or I don't like your podcast, but mention something about Guardian 1. Okay, so I'm dying here, River. I'm dying to know what your story is. Please tell me your story right now.
It's an Iron Banner story, and basically it's more about the loot drop system and kind of how the problems with it. And this is what happened to me. And so my goal was to get all 3 of my characters on Xbox, at least the class items, and my PlayStation 4 Hunter, because I only have 1 character on that, right? I just wanted to get class items for all of them. And I pretty much knocked out a Hunter to level 5 like in 2 days. I was like, oh man, I'm gonna go do the raid real quick. And I ended up beating Oryx. That was my first time hitting Oryx over the weekend, so that was great. But then it started winding down on the week, right? So I have my level 5 Hunter, and I've been grabbing like the Iron Banner dailies on all my other characters except for my Titan, which was way too low level to begin with. So I was like, man, all right, let's just start grinding out stuff and see if I can get the class items. And it was by this time it was like Monday. This was like right before the reset. But I also wanted to get Nerwin's Mercy because over the entire week I kept hearing about that pulse rifle and how great it is in the Crucible. So I was like, all right, let's grind out some legendary marks because I was short on legendary marks, and ended up getting enough for that on the Hunter since it was already level 5. But then I was short. I had like 3 legendary marks or something for the Warlock. I was like, all right, I got to get legendary marks on the Warlock. But since we got this new system in Taken King, you can only do like what the dailies. Is that right? Dailies on 1 character 3 times, and that's it for the account? Something like that, right?
Yeah.
You can only do the daily once per account, and then you could do the weekly heroics 3 times per week, but that's also a count.
So since it's Monday night, I can't really do the weekly like strikes, right? Because time's running out. So it left me having to do the weekly bounties on that warlock, which I only played a little bit for. So I was trying to grind that out, and I ended up getting level 5 pretty quickly because it's a Monday, and I did manage to get those weekly bounties and get enough legendary marks. But I got like my first drop. So this is like 2 characters, level 5, all freaking weak, and I finally got a drop for Iron Banner. It was the boots for the Warlock. That was pretty awesome. But now the time is like 1 hour before the reset, and I still have to hop over to the PlayStation 4 and get my Hunter, which I have 0 games in Iron Banner, and try to get the class item for that, right? So I'm like, crap, I don't even know how many legendary marks or anything like that I really need for that. So I'll hop on there real quick, grind through the Iron Banner as quickly as I can, because I did manage to pick up, like I said, the daily bounties for it, trying to get the weekly, and time is running out. It's like the last match that I can possibly do before the reset, and it's like 10 minutes before the reset, and I reached level 3, but I wasn't going to be able to do the weekly bounty in time, and I wasn't able to get enough legendary marks for it. And the reset time hit, and I'm in the middle of this match. I'm like, crap, I ran out of time. It's 2:00 in the morning here. I have work in like 3 hours. I got to get up for work in 3 hours. And I'm like, man, I should just quit and go to bed, because it's just freaking late. I hadn't been sleeping as it is because of Iron Banner. But the SDF in me was like, no, you really shouldn't quit, because you never quit. You never quit. You go and sit some fools down and just, knock this crap out. All right, let's go sit some fools down. And it's like the match ends. I know.
In the back.
So the match ends. It's like 10 minutes after the reset, and I got the class item to drop for me.
Awesome.
Dude, way awesome. It was like Yellowhorn dropped, because I was doing this because I was grinding so hard. I was grinding so hard for it, and I couldn't believe that I got it. And it dropped at 284, so 4 points above what I could have bought it for. So yeah, went to bed pretty happy, and then got up like 2.5 hours later.
Ouch.
That was it.
That's awesome.
It was atrocious, man.
That is
the new really lets you get those last characters up. I know on my account I'd only done my Warlock the whole way up until Sunday, and so I did, however, go pick up like the bounties every day on my other 2 characters. So Sunday I started one of my characters from scratch, and then Monday I started my other character from scratch. Both of those characters in the middle of my 9th game, I had completed all but one of the weekly bounties and all the other bounties that I had saved up, and was already rank 5 before I even turned in the 2 weeklies I had completed at that point. The only reason I didn't complete the 3rd weekly bounty is because it requires you completing 13 games, and at that point I hadn't even completed my 9th yet. I had 7 wins already.
Jeez.
So yeah, both those characters went up the whole way from absolute scratch to Iron Banner rank 5 capped before I turned in any of the weekly bounties in under 9 matches.
That's because you're a beast.
Beast.
And yeah, so my plan is to do something similar and to get all 6 characters to level 5 by the time Iron Banner ends. This is a real goal that I'm setting for myself. I think I can do it. So I during the Iron Banner, I had 2 things drop for me. I had the boots drop for me on the Xbox, and I was excited because I was only going to be able to come up with so many marks before Iron Banner ended, and so those dropped at a higher level, like 290 something. So I wasn't even going to be able to buy those. And so I was able to get the Nerwin's Mercy and the Iron Wreath.
Nice.
And then sadly, I had just bought the cloak, or the class item for the Hunter, and then 1 or 2 games after that, the cloak dropped for me. I mean, it was cool. It dropped several points higher, but I had already infused it, so it was like. Oh. It dropped at like 298, and I had just infused this cloak up to 296, and so that was a bummer. But but I still was able to grind out more marks and was able to get the Iron Wreath and Nerwin's Mercy. And I'm glad that I did, because even if I don't ever use that Nerwin's Mercy again, which I don't understand why I wouldn't, because it's pretty sweet.
It's awesome.
And it allows me to use a different exotic than my Knucklehead Radar. I have to have Third Eye. I have to have that knowing. I have to have that knowledge. Like, just having people sneak up with you and shotgun you is the most frustrating crap ever. And so with Nerwin's Mercy, I could totally use something else, which I would probably end up using the sealed Ahamkar's Grasp, because people don't expect those little packs, those little sacks of powder, damaging powder. Like, they really don't. You throw your grenade out and they jump over it and they think that they're in the clear, and then you stick them with that thing. and then imagine just another one. Like it really takes my game up just a little bit more. So yeah, exciting, very exciting. I really had a great time doing Iron Banner. It's sad that we don't get you every week, River, because I was thinking, why didn't we talk about this previously? Like, why haven't you shared this before, River? And it's because you weren't here on that week.
Yeah, that's right. It's unfortunate.
Yeah. So you know what? I think maybe you should. I think maybe you should think about just recording a small, like, River's thoughts on Destiny for the week. Like,
I wanted to send it to you last week.
Destiny.
Right? Like,
hey,
having
I don't
you
have
part
a
of that
good
conversation
microphone
would
to
be good.
record with.
What are you using right now?
Sound good
I'm
enough
using
now.
I'm talking to you guys through my Xbox One.
Wow, that's pretty good.
So you can record. Okay, so your thoughts aren't going to be like depending on how long they are, you could use the record feature on there and send this audio via that way.
What, like 30 seconds?
I don't know how it records I don't know how the Xbox works, but I mean, you can record
30 seconds.
Gameplay. I mean, you couldn't just lift audio off of gameplay recording? Like, go play sit there in a game of Destiny
could.
And, record a
That's
clip
something I hadn't considered.
Pulled audio off that.
I've been trying to get like a better microphone I can connect to a PC so I can actually do some good recording on the PC, but that is a good avenue. I might have to try that out and see if that'll work.
I tell you what, the headset that I'm using right now is like $20 on Amazon. Like, I know money be tight for everyone, but it's I don't know. It was really cheap. I mean, the head strap broke at some point after I purchased it. It was this cheap, and it's, I don't know. It's definitely an avenue worth considering. Especially when the other option is some kind of like that KW setup, a really nice microphone. It doesn't need to be that nice. I mean, this is already compressed audio, and it's going to be even more compressed audio when it goes to.
But that's why you want it to be as clear as possible.
It's true. It's very true. Okay, so we got a lot of stuff to cover. I want to talk about a lot of Destiny, and we are already 30 minutes into this, and I didn't write down the start time, which makes me sad. Agrios, why don't you tell us what's going on in the world of Destiny, and then we will cut you off and tell you what we think about it.
Sounds good. Sounds good. So first things first, Festival of the Lost. The tower's been decorated in engram paper lanterns, purple candles, and even has creepy music. Masks are plentiful, and everyone's giving out candy, including the enemies you eliminate while wearing a mask. Also, a new Crucible map, Cathedral of Dusk, has appeared in the map rotations, and apparently it's here to stay. Tess has 3 dances available for purchase, as well as more legendary packages containing legendary masks, paper glue, and the coveted Flaming Skull mask, all available for the new silver microtransaction currency. There's even a costume contest going on, and they have extended the deadline, so you still have time to enter. Winners will be announced tomorrow, October 30th. You can participate by tweeting an entry in one of the following categories to the Bungie official Twitter account with the hashtag Contest of the Lost. The categories you can enter are Best Costume Portrait, Best Group Shot, and Best Dance Party. On that same note, Bungie has prepared an awesome assortment of real-life paper masks, like those featured in the festival, that you can build yourself at home. All of the blue masks and consumables, are going to disappear on November 9th. So decide what you want before then and make sure you use up all those candy consumables. If you don't like the legendary mask that was gifted to you, you can actually break it down into paper glue, allowing you to upgrade a rare blue mask into legendary. How you guys enjoyed your time with the Festival of the Lost?
Yes, very exciting. I love what they've done with the tower. It makes it feel different and special and unique, and it's a beautiful thing. I love that they've added cool new stuff, like the idea of this whole new currency. You know, candy. Really funny, wearing this mask and gaining candy, and then turning it in, and then getting another rare. Like it's really cool, really exciting. What I don't like is that they've placed behind this ridiculous dollar amount this flaming skull helmet.
Yes, that's my. I'm not really mad. I'm disappointed.
Yeah, I'm disappointed too, because this is actually the first step on the road to bad times, as far as I'm concerned, as far as microtransactions go. Like it's one thing to sell this, like, oh, I know what I'm getting when I pay this money, and it's a whole nother thing to maybe you'll get what you're looking for when you pay these dollars. It bothers me.
This is a real money slot machine here. Okay, this is, and I don't really. I mean, I don't know how to phrase it. I don't find this appropriate for a game directed at young kids. It's rated T for teen. That's 13. Okay, that's what you got to look at. It's the youngest person they've rated to play is 13-year-old. That's a young kid. Not everyone out there has a ton of cash, and these packs that you have to get to take a chance at getting this. The cheapest way to get them is to buy 6 for $9. Well, I know someone, Sharks, he really wanted that mask, and he has, some extra money to spend, so he ended up buying 2 of those 6-packs. I believe he got the mask finally on the 12th one he opened of the 6-pack. So imagine, he didn't get it in that one. That was just one more chance he needed to open past that. That's already $18 spent on the game to get that item and whatever other temporary stuff and, legendary masks that don't assist you in the game. What if, how disappointed is a kid that only has so much money going to be after they spend $18 in the game and don't have the one item they were spending that $18 to hopefully get? How many parents out there are going to, put out however much money to do this? And, is there going to be incidences where parents have attached their credit cards to the account for the PS Plus purposes? And most games don't have very many microtransactions. But I mean, you can't really blame Bungie on this, but I mean, it gets into that area of like that real world, that real money slot machine effect. And I don't know about that.
Like, I could see if I thought that there was another way to get that skull. I thought maybe it was at the end of one of those, specific quests that show up, one of those 3 quests that show up. And then I was informed that that's not how it's working. That's not what's going on here. Is you need to get it only from buying these packs. And I bought a 3-pack on the Xbox, and I bought a 3-pack on the PlayStation, and I didn't get it. And I felt like, man, why did I waste my money on this? Like what I wanted was this, and I don't know. I'm bothered by this. Like there should have been an ultra pack. Even just one for $9. Here is one of these masks. Here is one of these skulls.
Well, like you buy the bundle of 6, you're guaranteed to get one or something like that.
Yeah, I mean anything where there is not. Here I am, like, because it seriously, it does touch like a gambling bug. Like, well, maybe if I just put in $9 more, I will get this, and I don't know. It felt bad. I felt dirty after having purchased these packs and not gotten the one thing that I can't get anywhere else in the game. If I can't earn this, then the only thing I'm buying this for, like everything else that came in those things that I spent money on, I just get for free. I don't even think I got anything that I didn't already have when I spent those dollars. And so it's nice that I got a couple more glues, and so that means I can make a couple more rares hang out, but that's not what I bought those packs for.
The worst thing about it is that it's actually worse than the other things similar to it in the real world. Because in the real world, the other things similar to it are an actual, like, Vegas slot machine, or like trading card games. You have collectible card games. You buy a pack of cards. You don't know what you're going to get in it. You might get good ones. You might get bad ones. The thing is that even afterward, you still have something tangible that has value. If you win on a slot machine, finally, if you get any sort of feedback on a slot machine, you get money. If you get any sort of feedback from a collectible card game, you can sell the cards that you buy. And if you buy any, I play a lot of collectible card games, and if you just buy a large number of packs and you sell them off individually, you're going to at very least come close to breaking even, if not get a card that's worth a ton of money. I opened a pack from Walmart a couple years ago, and that card's worth about $900 now. But like, you actually have something tangible. In this, almost all the items they're giving you are temporary, and even if you get the item that you want, it's just this decoration. So you don't even have a return like you have on these other gambling type outlets.
Well, the ones in the packs aren't temporary; they're always legendaries.
Correct, but if you don't want any of those, you just want the flaming skull mask, and that's what you're trying to purchase. That's what you're putting your money toward. Then those are incidental.
Well, it's more along the lines of buying like digital cards on a online game, not so much trading card game, because you can sell those cards back that you don't like, but
the same for Magic the Gathering's digital card game, for that matter. You can actually sell cards to other players and things for their competitive card game digitally.
So did you get everything you were looking for, Jez? Are you enjoying the new thing in the tower? And is this kind of holiday deal something that is interesting to you or no?
Well, last year I was like, why don't they just make the Jacklight permanent?
And stack more than 5 high.
Yeah. And now I'm like, well, now I just want that skull to be an actual helmet so I can give it stats, but I can't.
Yeah. So did you spend any real money on this, or are you just going through the
yeah.
rare? Oh.
Yeah, I wanted a skull mask.
Did you get your skull mask?
Yeah, I think
how much money did you put in?
I think only about the 6.
Well, that's good.
I know someone that got it on the first pack, and it's like, Christ. Why?
Yeah, if you were lucky enough, Guardians could get it on the free package. The free package everyone got the exact same package that she's selling. So,
man, that's sad.
I was slightly bummed that the 3 quests didn't lead to a meta quest that led to something special.
Yeah, like that skull mask.
I was hoping that at very least, after we completed all the quests, we would have gotten another legendary package chance.
To be fair, it's not Halloween. They do like their time gates recently.
They do like their time gates.
Interesting thought.
Kind of lame to make everybody have to play Destiny on Halloween instead of Trick or Treat, though.
Well, I don't know. You know, once I became an adult, I realized that, you know, what am I doing tracking my ass around town for? Let's go to the store and spend some dollars on a bunch of candy and bring it back. Like, I'm not going out trick or treating. I'm probably going to be playing Destiny.
See, I didn't trick or treat for the candy. I trick or treat for dressing up in awesome costumes.
That makes me wonder what is your favorite thing you've ever dressed up as?
Oh wow, I don't know. I have a number of costumes. My favorite one, probably it won me the most awards, was a fairly elaborate costume that looked like Frankenstein carrying a guy in a cage, but it was really just me.
Man, won you a lot of awards. That sounds fancy.
Yeah, it made me well over $1,000 in various Halloween costume contests.
Wow. You're the man. River, what do you think about all of this festivities? What do you think about the quest, and what do you think about the rewards, and what do you think about this real money deal, and did you get everything you were looking for?
Okay, so I remember on a podcast for Guardian 1 way back in the day where we were speculating about Halloween events, or not Halloween events, but like holiday events, and we were so hopeful, and then we got so disappointed with last year. So I'm really happy that this came out this year of something substantial, like a change to the tower and some missions and freaking candy. Are you kidding me? I mean, every time I kill a fool in the Crucible, I'm like, ooh, a piece of candy. So it's a lot of fun, man.
That's way it's fun.
Great. But I gotta say, with the silver part, okay, I spent $20 on silver, and I bought the Thriller Dance. I had to have that. That was one of the ones that I said that I would have to buy, and I pretty much spent the rest on the boxes. I was looking for the flaming head. Did I get the flaming head? No, I didn't.
Oh, no!
I know. I was so
you.
disappointed.
How many boxes did you go through?
Let's see. I bought the 6-pack. I think I bought. How much did I have left over? I think I bought the 6-pack, the 3-pack, and the 1-pack. Depending on how much silver I had left, because I only spent $20, so I had like 2,300, and however much the math went through on all that with the emote and then the packs, that's all I went through.
Yeah, I think I'm probably going to buy some more packs before the end of the deal. I want that skull, man.
That skull is awesome, man.
That skull is awesome.
I really want that, but Jez bring a good point that you really can't do anything with it except wear it. You know, bring down your light level, and it's not going to really affect anything else. It's just a decoration piece. And as cool as that is,
you don't need it
until they add transmogrification.
You know,
no.
You know, it also occurs to me that, and this was something I was thinking about the other day, because I've dealt with this light level going down, exotics from yesteryear are still viable. Like legendaries from yesterday or yesteryear are still viable. Like, you could use the Yellowhorn if you're going into something that's 260 or below. You can have that. You can take that hit to your light level and still use it. My dad, well, actually, I still carry around my icebreaker too. But my dad is like so hooked on this. Like, we got into that one mission where you had to kill that giant crystal, and he's like, "Look, I just don't have anything that's going to do any damage to this other than this icebreaker." And I wanted to tell him, like, listen, you're doing this wrong. But then when I saw his light level, I was like, well, actually, you know what? He's still rated well for this mission. Like, and then he used it, and he was really happy with its performance, and we didn't die that time. So you can still use these older weapons if you have a high enough light level elsewhere to take that hit. So this means that elemental weapons from year one are still worth it. Like, you can be doing double the damage with that burn. You know, I mean, this means that Vision of Confluence is still a thing, or you know,
I know
conceivably.
it takes each weapons level into account too. So, what is the damage difference? That's what I really want to know. I want to know what the damage. I want to take an exotic that has a year 1 and a year 2 version, and I want to see what the actual bullet damage difference is when equipping them differently. Because although your average light level stays the same, I was understanding that the individual weapons rating itself would impact that particular weapon's bullets.
You know what? If you lowered your light level when you were using the year 2 version to what it was when you were using the year 1 version, that would be a really good trade-off.
Well, no. I want to keep the rest of your things all identical. I just want to. That's why I want to use a year 2 exotic that has a year 1 variant, so that you can literally only change that and see what it changes in the bullet damage, and then you'll really know how much you're losing relative to other things.
Well,
but you're also changing your light level.
Just use year 1 alternate.
Oh, okay. I what you're saying.
So that your light level stays the same, despite the change.
Mm-hmm.
You know what else? I really hope that they bring in. I want to see snow in the tower. Do you guys remember before Destiny came out? They were celebrating this Christmas thing, and they showed you a picture of like snow on the tower and then lights. I really, really want to see that. I was really, really expecting this last year. And now that they've changed the tower significantly, I could definitely see them doing that. And I really want them to do that. Just real quick, River, does that sound ridiculous to you?
No, of course not.
Jez?
Nah.
Agrios?
I think we'll get maybe a winter festival, but I think they'll stay away from like Santa or religious things.
Do you think snow is too close to religious?
No, I think that's why I said I think we'll get a winter festival, like lights and snow and whatnot. But I mean, a lot of people are calling for Santa to show up as Santa because that Christmas is on the same day he shows up this year. and whatnot, and he brings the goodies in his bag and whatnot. So, but I don't think we're going to see, because the international kind of global direction they're aiming the game at, I think they're going to stay away from like Santa and any religious iconography.
Well,
that's fine for me.
It's
I
probably
just want to see snow.
quite like how World of Warcraft does it, and they just shy away from every official holiday name. Like like Easter is Noble Garden, and Halloween is what was it? I think it might be like Hallow's End or something like that. But they just shy away from anything. Like if Santa was copyrighted, they shy away from it in a very non-copyright infringing way.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I really want to see snow. I really expected snow, and I really want to see snow. I think
with all this change, I think what they really need to add is special boss fights.
Oh, I like that. I like that a lot. Special boss fights. Okay, I have a question for you guys. Has anybody put on the Cryptarch's mask and then gone to the first mission where you have woken the hive?
No.
Okay, so
No.
I read something about this on the internet before I shut my Twitter notifications down the other day. I had read about this. Apparently, something happens if you're wearing the Cryptarch's mask when you've woken the hive, and it's always made me wonder about that Easter egg they put into the loot cave. Like, why does it say 1,000,000 deaths is not enough for Master Rahul? What does he have to do with any of it? I mean, other than he's getting those engrams and turning them in, like other than that, there's no direct correlation that I can see. You know what? Speaking of, I would like to put out a call right now. Guardian 1 needs a lore master. Like Guardian 1 needs somebody that we can turn to and say, man, I need you to explain to me Predith, or tell me what you know about this. Like, we need somebody in an official capacity who will be there to answer questions and explain things, because it's, I can go and do research. I can contact Jez and ask him to do research. But if somebody just has this information, like if you were out there thinking right now, I know everything about the Grimoire, and because there's little bits and pieces that are handed to us through news stories, like that whole thing with Predith was amazing. That whole section of new information, and then finding his bones, and then him saying, "Tell them I lived." Like that, it gives me goosebumps even now just thinking about it. Like, it's such a little morsel, but there's so much more leading up to this, and questions. Why was Kabir the only one who had a named gloves and helmet? Like a named outfit. Like it's. I need somebody who like breathes.
Well, I know why he's the only one that had a named outfit, because all the rest of them were either got killed or removed from existence.
Right, removed from existence, and that's awesome. But we didn't know who those other people were. Like, I didn't know who Predith was until we went through that mission, and that's, I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of the drip fed lore, but I mean, if that's the only way I'm going to be able to get it, then fine. But I want to be able to sit down with somebody and just ask them a question. Just say, look, I need you to explain this to me, because I have these thoughts and ideas that if I could just have somebody, like, this was why it was so important that I got you on the show, Jez, because you're really, really quick to tell me I'm wrong about something and correct me. And I can't appreciate that more. Like, I appreciate it so much. It's one of the reasons I have River here. It's one of the reasons I have Agrios here. Like, I am a dreamer. I'm the dreamer. I'm the one who's going to make this great big plan, and then I need people to bring me back down to earth because it's crazy. What am I talking about? And just having somebody that knows what they're doing already and already is immersed into this, it's super important. Or even a group of people, like a circle of people who constantly talk about the lore. I just need people to bounce ideas off of, and maybe this has to do with one of my other projects that I haven't announced yet. Who knows?
Remy, have you been to the subreddit Raid Secrets?
No, I have not.
Great little subreddit. They're the ones who had the team that eventually took down all of the Gorgons before they could respawn in the Vault of Glass. Those guys over there, they know their way around some lore. I'd like to think I know my way around a lore to a degree, but I know nothing compared to the guys over at that subreddit.
Awesome. I'll seek those gentlemen out.
You also have some volunteers in the chat.
I see that, and it's all people that I game with. So I will give them the test, and see if they have the right answers. Because I'll know if you guys have been living and breathing these things. You know, that's what I need. You know, like Destiny author, but with lore instead of everything.
Do your homework, kids.
So let's see, where were we?
Anybody
else
about the festival?
Anybody else on this festival? I really enjoyed it. When is it leaving? I think it said November 7th.
November 9th.
November 9th. All right, plenty of time. I'm just glad it's not ending like on. That's how they're letting you go to trick or treat, is they're not ending it on Halloween.
And I want to
no, we were talking about a time-gated mission for like getting the flaming skull mask or something, and Jez says, well, it's not actually Halloween yet, like insinuating, they like the time gating, and that's when I said about, wow, that'd be pretty crummy of them to make you have to do something Halloween night to get it.
Okay, so the reason I don't think that there's going to be that is because then everybody who's dropped $10, $20, $40 trying to get this skull is going to be pissed off that they spent all that money. Like, can you imagine? Can you imagine if on Halloween they're just like, oh, go and do this piddly mission and you can have this thing? People are going to be up in arms. They're going to be even more pissed off than I am right now.
Yeah, but they might not do the blue skull mask, but they'd be like, oh, red skull mask.
You know, that is a Bungie thing to do the red flames and the blue flames.
We've only ever had blue flames.
What's that?
Destiny. We've only ever had blue flames in Destiny.
Right? We've only had blue flames in Destiny. Awesome. So unless anybody's got anything else on this, then why don't we give it back to Agrios so we can cut him off again?
I got one more thing.
What's that?
I just want to thank everybody who spent money to get silver to buy all this stuff, because you're funding Bungie with DLC, basically. And Triple Rex said, "You the real MVP."
I agree. And you know what? I am happy to support Bungie in this way, because it just seems like it's non-invasive. Like, I don't feel like I had to purchase those. I wanted to purchase those, and it makes me feel better knowing that I'm supporting them. For the longest time, I kept saying that I wanted more stuff to spend money on. I just wish that there wasn't such a slot machine feel behind it, because
yeah, that's the only thing that leaves a sour taste in my mouth. Like, I support everything about your statement up until they started with this slot machine BS, and now I'm starting to feel less like spending money in Bungie's microtransactions because of it. Even though, like, it's not a huge effect on me. Like, I feel like I'm less interested in buying other things from the store because they've done this.
Yeah.
They got the money, freaking go for it.
Okay. Moving on.
So, on the PvP side of things, with the Night Stalker glitch, the Night Stalker Quiver glitch currently disabled, this week Bungie's bringing back the Trials of Osiris. Tomorrow, Friday, October 30th at 10 a.m. Pacific, Trials will go live. The details for this year's Trials run: it requires a minimum character level of 40, requires a minimum light level of 251. The recommended light is 290. Winning teams now receive Trials gear rewards directly at the end of match completion. Players that go undefeated on their passage will continue to be invited to the Lighthouse. Players may continue to play the Trials past 9 wins, but rewards are maxed out at 9 wins. Trials passages now have a details page containing your boons. a player must now purchase the boons from the detail page on their passage instead of from Brother Vance, and boons can no longer be applied to Trials passages after starting a run. So make sure you buy those before you go into your first match. Trials gear can be purchased from Brother Vance, including some items found at the Lighthouse. Brother Vance now has bounties that award legendary marks, Crucible bounties. It can now also be completed in Trials of Osiris, and matchmaking has been updated to make it more competitive to reach the Lighthouse. Concerning that last point, Bungie spoke with senior designer Derek Carroll about the Year 2 philosophy for the Trials of Osiris. The original design for Trials of Osiris employed no skill matchmaking whatsoever. Instead of expecting teams to win roughly 50% of their games, the goal of most matchmaking systems, you'd expect the above-average teams to win and below-average teams to lose. While this was generally interesting, one of the side effects was that a capable team could breeze through a field of challengers to reach the Lighthouse without really breaking a sweat. With the changes we've made to matchmaking, there will be a greater chance that the other team will be on the same rung of the ladder as you, making your climb to 9-0 much more meaningful, and those last few matches much more fun for everyone. Well, almost everyone. With greater risk will come even greater reward. For those of you who can go the distance, we'll be dropping endgame gear that will rival the light of those Guardians who have been defeating Oryx in King's Fall hard mode. Because we're dropping the gear into the end of match stream, you'll be able to see, you and the opponents will both be able to see the results there. He also later tweeted that the same power curve as the Iron Banner is going to be used. The map will remain a secret. Winners will get gear, losers will get coins. And everyone should try it regardless of what their light level is, whether or not their light level is as high as possible. What do you guys think about this year's Iron Banner? Are you more apprehensive or less apprehensive about going into it?
Okay, so I only played Trials on that first week that it was out, and I just kept getting, like when I would lose, it would be like, oh, the other team's Trials or their card has ended or whatever, and that was bothersome to me. It didn't ever make sense that I would be getting put up against people who were, so good that they got to 8 wins. Like if their card ended, that's what that means, right? That they got to 9 wins, no matter what their other, the loss score was. They had gotten to 9 wins, and it never made sense to me because I always felt like, why not put me together against somebody who's not, okay. So the matchmaking is excellent. I think that's definitely going to push me towards wanting to play more. I've only ever gotten...
You realize statistically it's probably going to get harder, right?
No, it totally is. But if I'm being placed up against somebody else who hasn't won anything, that's much better.
But that team that you go against that hasn't won anything might be a 9-0 team just starting their run.
Totally, and that's fine. Right. That's way better than,
See, before you had the chance of getting just all mediocre teams the whole way up to 0 to 9 if you got lucky enough to get a run like that. But now there's no chance of that happening.
Well, to be fair, if you're lucky enough to get mediocre teams all the way up, someone else is going to be lucky to get all mediocre teams up. So there's still a chance that you're going to run up against people that lucked into it, or not really lucked into it, but just had... really good matches.
There's just a huge chance of that happening.
Right, I'm fine with it. I have no problem with earning my own. What I have a problem with is getting put together with people who are out of my league, and somebody who's on their 8th win is definitely out of my league. Like even if I do get, there's just a much higher chance that I get put in with somebody who's regular. 1 win. And I love the new system of getting gear. So, but I want to know if you guys understand specifically what the deal is, because it says that the wins will drop at the end of the match. So they're talking about that 1 through 8 version win, right? They're talking about this, where instead of having to bring that, whatever package back to Vance, you will now just get that at the end of the year, right? So if you do get that 3-win slot, then you don't have to go back to the thing. You just get that automatically. Is that what that's saying?
Yes.
Okay, so then
when you complete your passage, when you're finished with your passage, whether you are 9-0 or 9-1 or whatever it is, you
stop getting drops.
Right.
Okay, but then they say that let me see. It says Trials gear can be purchased from Brother Vance, including some items found at the lighthouse. How is this going to work? Like if you are given...
I'm assuming that this is going to be lower light level versions, just stylistically go with the set that's being that you get from getting to the lighthouse. So you're getting this, 310 gear apparently, it's going to be hard mode actually equivalent. So over 310 plus gear for actually completing your passage. Whereas I imagine what Brother Vance is selling is going to be like maybe 290. That's wishful thinking. It's probably going to be 280 like every other vendor in existence. I'm hoping that, it might be 290 or 300, and you maybe need requirements like having completed completed a passage to be allowed to buy it or something. They changed up the way it works now, so it's hard to speculate. Before you had to complete certain number of wins to get to a certain tier to be allowed to buy things from him. So perhaps it still just works that way for additional purchase with the marks. You still have to qualify by getting a 6-win trials passage completed. Then you're allowed to use your marks to buy a chess piece that match. He has the chess piece this week that matches the lighthouse set, but it's at a lower light level than you would get if you actually got it awarded for getting a 9-0.
So, okay, so that makes sense. I'm curious to know what they're talking about. Some items found at the lighthouse, and what are we going to use to purchase this? Is it going to be legendary marks, much like Iron Banner? Does anybody have any thoughts?
I would imagine, since his weekly bounties give legendary marks,
That's
like
right.
the Iron Banner is too, that would make sense.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about all this, River?
Pretty much in agreement there. I mean, that's it. Like, jeez. Are you talking about like Iron Banner, freaking Trials overall?
Yeah. I mean, how many times did you play Trials last year?
Twice.
Twice? Did you get anything out of it?
Yeah, man, I got almost a full set of Osiris gear because I went 8-3. Oh, did I get 8-3? No, I went 9-2. There we go, 9-2.
9-2. That's
right?
pretty sweet.
Yeah, 9-2.
What about you, Jez? What do you think about this Trials of Osiris, or do you not think about this Trials of Osiris?
Well, if we're going off of Iron Banner, I'm not really liking Power Matters still.
What? Why?
Because it's still not enough of a delta to actually make a difference.
I agree wholeheartedly.
What do you mean there's not enough delta to make a difference?
Well, in order to do... If you are 250 and you go up against someone that is 300, you're doing, I think, 15% less damage.
You said 250 and 300.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 5 levels under.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You're only doing 15% less damage, which might be one shot. Depending on...
So everyone over 290, it's basically not making a difference. That's why the minimum light is 290. It's not going to change the number of bullets that it takes to kill you in almost any situation, as long as you're above 290. And above 280 is not going to make much of a change either.
Mm-hmm. So what you're saying is...
It might as well just be normal Crucible.
Right, so who's going to go into trials that's not already 280 is the question. You know what I mean? And so what's the point of the Power Matters? I totally agree with Jez on that to a degree.
I don't know. I might go in just for a lark, but that's about it.
Yeah. Agrios, do you already know who you're going to be playing with, or are you're gonna LFG it?
No, not for certain. I mean, Sharks is probably going to want to go in. I'm distinctly more confident in my trials abilities now than I was the last time they came around initially. So I feel that I can, make a strong run. I don't expect to get 9-0 by any means, but I expect to make a fairly strong run.
Jez, would you say that you've played, because when we first started the podcast, you said that you weren't huge on PvP, too many variables. How have you gone down that path and not played very much PvP, or have you played more PvP than you thought you were going to?
I think I might have played more than I thought I was going to, just because I kind of really wanted like the Iron Banner stuff. I don't play too much normal PvP, um, just because there's no incentive for my type of playstyle for that.
Man, what do you describe your type of playstyle as?
Well, like there's just nothing in there for me to get. There's the random drops, but the random drops are better for PvP than for PvE, so why bother do it?
I see what you're saying. I did get an AS Luna, which it really kicks ass in both PvP and PvE.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of just hawk mode.
I know, but it means I can use a different. That's all. Oh, you forget, River. You know, he's had regular Hawkmoon for, I don't know, what is it, forever at this point?
Yeah, but I'm not into the hand cannons. Remember?
Ah, yes, you're the scout rifle guy.
Hand cannons aren't that great for me.
So then, River, what is your loadout? What is your PvP / going into trials loadout? Is it the same or is it different? And what do you use specifically? What are you going for? Primary, special, and heavy?
Oh well, let me check my companion app. I'm pretty sure I got Nerwin's Mercy, because since I heard about it from the Iron Banner, and you know what? That first time I tried that, I forgot about this. The first time I tried Nerwin's Mercy in the Crucible, man, I was freaking out. I was so giddy at how good this pulse rifle was. I just couldn't believe it. It's like a laser. It's like a long distance pulse rifle laser.
Well, especially the one you bought.
It was freaking insane, man. I couldn't believe it. So I had to get that. I had to get that over 300 at least. So I got it at 305. And I managed to get the 1,000-yard stare with a hidden hand on it. Pretty happy about that one. And I'll probably just use some random rocket launcher. Like this one was this Harold Frenzy. What was it? Elulium? Whatever. The hard mode rocket launcher. There we go. I got that at 317, so that helps. My armor's not really exactly what I wanted. I'm having a hard time with legendary marks since I don't play that often. And I really wanted to get the Chest of Alpha Lupi since it's got the fast revive and stuff like that, but I hadn't had a chance to grab that yet, really.
Man, I got two of them. You want one?
I really do.
Give you one.
But I got trading. Many. I don't want trading in this game, so screw that. Yeah, go for it.
I was going to move on to Jez.
Yeah.
So Jez, what does your loadout look like when you go to PvP? What do you use? Primary, special, and heavy?
My primary is usually the Suros Dis 47. It's the high rate of fire scout rifle.
And what are the rules on that?
I can't tell off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure they aren't that great.
Got it.
I think
Remy got a nice one of those this week.
Right, I'm gonna wait to gloat for another minute.
And my special I currently use is Irene, even though it's like you don't want to use that because it's got luck in the chamber.
Oh, it's spectacular.
Yeah, I really don't like when I get one hit kills with it though. I do.
Right.
I mean, a funny guy, Jez.
I feel dirty in all the right.
And completing on this dirty PvP discussion, I ended up with the Suros rocket launcher with grenades and horseshoes, like everyone else.
Yeah, you got the really good one that has blast radius and velocity boost too.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Excellent. Thank you, Jez. So Agrios, what is your PvP loadout?
Well, recently I got a glorious roll on a Hawksaw. It has, I don't remember now, a small bore or injection mold or one of those that boosts the stability a bit. And it has counterbalance. And I had the vendor Hawksaw previously, and it wasn't really doing it for me entirely. It has that horizontal recoil. It's bugging me, and the colors are awful. But I can live with the colors on my new one because it shoots like a laser. The counterbalance, if you don't know, it changes all recoil on the gun to a completely vertical recoil. So it eliminates all that nasty horizontal recoil. And the first thing I did is went and take my vendor model and my regular model up and shoot a wall with them. And you could just see the horrible, horrible patterns from the first one, and the next one's just little straight line dashes. Oh, it's spectacular. And as far as sniper goes, I'll probably use the Irene, like Jez mentioned. I also have a couple other backup options, but that's looking like the favorite. And everybody goes with the conspiracy theory D for the shotgun if they're going to run a shotgun. But I personally like the faster fire rate and don't really feel the hurt. It feels like in most situations from the loss of range from damage. And I really like to run my Patch A from Dead Orbit. So I really tend to lean toward that. As far as the heavy goes, I'm going to go with Truth.
Got it.
You pick more rockets. It's got tracking and grenades and horseshoes.
Okay.
Works for me.
So my PvP loadout. I also use Truth. Actually, that's where I keep my exotic as far as weapons go. Just because if I do get heavy, I need it to matter. And not only does it have tracking, it's got tracking on tracking within tracking. Like I picked up one of those JBL Suros rocket launchers with tracking, and that tracking is a joke in comparison to Truth. And I need it to matter. Like I don't always run to get heavy. I sometimes run to the other heavy to mess with those guys. You know, I try and pick them off as they're waiting for the heavy, and that works a lot of the time, and that feels really good to be able to give my team that advantage by the fewer people that get heavy, the less resistance they're going to sit on. Sometimes when I need to get special kills, I will go with a sniper. Specifically, I wish I could remember the name of it. It's the blue and green one. Let me see if I got one right here on my. No.
You mean the Crucible variant?
I think it's the Crucible variant.
Right, it's like the Tai Yao, like it's like an Asian sounding name.
Yeah. So if I need to get special kills, I'll go with that. But what I run mostly is a scout rifle as my main. So I've already got kind of a long distance option that is already always there. So I usually run my Havoc Pigeon. I remember getting this Havoc Pigeon and then tweeting it on Twitter, like as almost a joke. You know, look at, a sidearm named Havoc Pigeon. And then I absolutely fell in love with it. Like the feel of it, the range, the kick, like everything is so amazing. And I've killed so many people with that, with that sidearm that I'm not really very fluent in shotgun. I just can't seem to close that gap. If I try to be the person closing the gap, I get shot. If the other person's trying to be the person closing the gap, I get shot. So with that sidearm, it's so much easier to just, okay, you are now 20 yards off and you are clearly charging me. It's time to pull this out and make this happen. What are you going to say?
I was just going to say, one of the things you're probably doing that I did early on when I was getting to know shotguns is underestimate the range at which your shotgun is effective and feel that you need to get closer than you do before you pull that trigger. And that's why you lose a lot of shotgun battles. That's one of my main problems.
Yeah, so it's not, I don't know, if the person that I'm going up against is a novice shotgun user, I will win. But people who run around with shotguns, you can't really tell. But so my main this time out, I've been using a Suros DIS 43, and I talked it up last week. It was the best thing ever. I got a full auto roll on Arms Day. It was a thing of beauty. And on the Xbox One, I actually use one that instead of full auto, it has unflinching, which in firefights is the difference between being killed or killing. But this time, yesterday, I've been sitting on a DIS 47, which a lot of people are saying was really awesome. I've been sitting on that for a couple of weeks now. You know, whenever the last time you could have purchased the 47 was, I picked it up on the PlayStation. I didn't like the roll. I ended up deleting it. Sat on one on my Xbox, and then somehow I just this week it rolled with full auto, and it is amazing. This DIS 47, it's got perfect balance and small bore, which pushes the range and the stability up so high. And as much as I don't like the SLO12 sight on the on from Suros, I'd much rather have the SLO19. It doesn't matter because everything is dead in front of me. And I heard people talk about this 47 with full auto, and it is amazing. So just a quick tip out there: if you find a gun that you really like that the gunsmith is selling and you don't like the rolls, just keep it. I know it's a pain to have your inventory blocked by, you know, however many slots for these weapons that you're keeping, but just keep it. And every week there's going to be a new roll on it, and it's, you know, you're going to find the one you want, and it's going to be great. Like, you should have heard it. Like I was on the I was in chat with Agrios when I found out, or no, I wasn't in chat. I had to message Agrios right away as soon as I got it, because it was just that exciting. It was so exciting. So that's what I use. I use scout rifle, sidearm, rocket launcher. There was a couple times where I forgot my rocket launcher on another character, but I was already in matches, so I was using the whatever is the Deviant Gravity A version. That's what I was using, the machine gun, and it wasn't bad. It just wasn't as final as locking on to a person and having them have nowhere to run. You know, even if I am dead, as long as I can get that out. So I think it's interesting that you also use that, Agrios.
Well, what's interesting is I use it completely different than you, because I actually detest tracking in Crucible. There's too many times where I'll try to shoot somebody and they'll tuck behind a wall and the rocket will curve into the wall because it tracks where they go, even though it's not like it makes a right angle around a corner.
Yeah, totally.
So I actually don't scope. I no scope when I fire my rocket launcher, and if you don't scope, it doesn't track.
Oh, that's good to know.
So that's it's really just a grenades and horseshoe rocket launcher if you no scope it, and that's basically how I use it. I don't scope in when I fire it at the enemy.
You know what? That explains a lot, because there are times when I don't scope. It's only because those people are so close that their entire body fills that that reticle, and so if they're that close, the grenades and horseshoes gets them every time. So it's interesting that that's how that works, because thank goodness. It sounds awesome.
I should make a small change to my loadout lately, because I've been running with Stranger's Rifle, or not the Stranger's Rifle, No Time to Explain, a lot more. I just like how it feels.
Yeah, I like it too. It's nice.
I haven't picked it up. I'm looking forward to it though.
I always like the Stranger's Rifle.
Happy and sad that it's hidden behind beating Atheon. I think that's awesome. And for the people who just, you know, well, I'm putting in my 8 hours of Destiny for the day. For those people, it's got to be so much fun. But for the people struggling with time, it's like, oh, great, you know, I gotta get a group together and go run.
No. The ones that it's really annoying for are the people that just switch their faction the day before.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I could definitely see that. Let's take a moment to welcome to the show Crimson Warlock. Crimson, welcome to the show.
Hey guys, I'm finally back.
Hey, welcome.
Hey.
Okay, so we've talked about a lot of stuff. Why don't we go over real quick with you? We talked about the Festival of the Lost. What do you think about the Festival of the Lost? Awesome, not awesome? Have you purchased packs? Did you get the glowing skull? What do you think about the decorations in the tower? And do you think that we should get snow for Christmas? Continue.
The tower better be full of snow for Christmas. Old Russia is full of snow. But no, I didn't get the skull. I haven't bought any packs. I just bought the zombie dance. And RNG likes to give me the Traveler helmet, which is really annoying.
I haven't gotten a single one of those on Xbox or PlayStation. Not one Traveler.
I'd rather get something other than the Traveler. Actually, I think it's really cool. It's a fun event, and it's one of those things that is just bringing new life into Destiny for people who might have gotten bored. It's just that new thing to do, which is pretty fun.
I think one of my favorite parts was when I went to Eris, and Eris said something along the lines of like, I've prepared these dried fruits for you, or something like this. Like, it was really funny. It was really funny in it, and it's just a layer of who she is. It's just a layer of who she is. Like how they have Cade right now is wearing an Eris mask. Like, that's funny. That's funny in a way that you can't really package. It's something that you have to notice. It's something that it just colors it just the littlest bit. And so that's awesome. Trials of Osiris, Crimson Warlock. Are you excited about Trials of Osiris? Are you excited about the changes to Trials of Osiris? And when you're done with that, what is your loadout for PvP?
So Trials hasn't changed for me because I've never stepped foot into it. I'm hoping to on Saturday. And super excited for it. I'm ready to see how well I do. And my loadout, so I'm going to have the Iron Banner pulse rifle, or I'm going to be switching up a couple of guns. I have two Hawkeye pulse rifles that I really like as well, since I'm a pulse rifle guy. One of them isn't full auto, the other one is. So I'm going to kind of test how I like those. Then my special is the sidearm from Iron Banner, the Ironworth D. I got a really good roll on it from a random drop, which I really like. And I'm probably going to go machine gun for heavy, just because I feel like if I can survive the rocket blast, then I usually can get a fairly good amount of kills with a machine gun. So
Yeah,
in a machine gun.
Having forgotten my rocket launcher on several PvP matches, and then having to use the machine gun, it's definitely something that if you can keep control over, if you can keep the engagement of enemies under your terms, it's 3 to 5 shots for a kill. And then you're just moving on. Like, you could kill so many people just left and right if you can control that situation. And I usually go rocket launcher just because I've not yet graduated to the point to where I'm in control over that situation. And like you said, if you can survive the rockets, and so I go rocket launcher just because it just makes more sense to me. Like, I just need to be able to get rid of the heavy ammo. The worst feeling in the world is having heavy ammo and then dying. Like, I would much rather just throw out the rockets, have them miss everybody, and then die, instead of not kill anybody with my machine gun, be sitting on a bunch of heavy, especially now that in some cases your heavy ammo is left behind if you get killed. Like, I noticed a couple times, I think it was in the Iron Banner, I can't be certain of this, but a couple of times I did take somebody down and they left heavy ammo, and I thought, man, that would piss me off. Let's see. Alrighty. I think I'm going to have to buy that Thriller Dance. Oh, something I wanted to say before we move on from that, which we've already moved on from, is that the Thriller Dance is not available on the Xbox 360.
PS3.
Okay, that's what was going to be my next question, because yeah, so apparently last gen is not able to keep all of the memory of those dances in the memory, and which is funny, because if you do the robot dance, if you do the exo male dance on the older generation, it looks sad and weird, like wilted lettuce. Like, it still looks like lettuce, but it's just not crispy and delicious, so it's really strange. And I thought to myself, like, I was really excited. I was going to show Flounder, but she plays mostly on the Xbox 360. And when I went downstairs to look at it again and show her, it was missing. So we can see it right now. Right now is the very beginning of the true differences in Destiny. You cannot purchase it on the Xbox 360. If you are using last generation PS3, 360, you cannot purchase it. It is not available for you, and that sucks. And also, I mean, it makes sense. The dance looks beautiful, and there's a lot to it. And if they're going to put, wilted lettuce in as a as a dance for this exo male, I don't know. So yeah, I wanted to throw that out there. That's crazy to me.
It really shows like how much last gen systems are getting pegged out on this game.
Absolutely. I wonder what it looked like before they called it, or if they just said, well, look, we are just never going to be able to do this. Like they've
too long. Like it exceeds the space that they had on the last gens for those emotes, because it's just such a long emote.
Right.
Well, it's not worth like shuffling around memory to try to get these like 1 or 2 emotes in there,
Yeah.
I also wonder if it might skip frames or something, because there's a lot going on your character in each frame during that dance. So it could
good point.
might not be able to be a crisp looking dance, and so they didn't add it.
Exactly. Exactly. Wilted lettuce. Infamous Band-Aid says, are there going to be turkeys running around the tower at Thanksgiving? And little known fact, Infamous, those red pigeons in the tower are turkeys, and they are edible. You can go eat one right now. Scout's honor. All right, Agrios, why don't you take us? We were on trials. I love my DS47. It needs to snow in the tower. Moving on.
We're wrapping up the update here real quick before we move into more discussable material here. But when I mentioned the movie of the week, there's 2 of them this week. The main one was someone did the Star Wars trailer in the flavor of Destiny. And they went through and they took all the audio from the most recently released Star Wars trailer and edited in Destiny images for it all. And it's a great job. And definitely well worth watching. I mean, it's an epic trailer to begin with, and they do a really good job of pairing the right scenes with the right sounds.
Very cool.
The second movie of the week is a rather graceful Crucible kill in the area with 0G. A warlock gets spun into a perfect little ballerina move after they are taken out. It's quite comic. So there are a couple of tweets this week, or posts, I should say, in different places, followed up by tweets by Luke Smith. The first of which concerned elemental primaries being left behind. He said elemental primaries are being left behind. They had the distinct and undesirable property of limiting a broad weapon sandbox to a few weapons. You're free to disagree, but I strongly prefer the breadth of arsenal options. The potential of finding a better legendary than you have to being stuck because of a damage color. Additionally, no legendary weapons with damage colors has the property of making secondaries and heavies more important because of their damage color. So people were kind of surprised that, when they didn't have hard mode raid primaries that were producing elemental damage. Right now, the only one in the current release of the game that you can, level up that has any sort of element at all is the Zealous Supercell with arc damage. And I also find it curious that if this is the direction they were going, that they put any at all, even in it being an exotic, because it seems to make that all that much more of an only solution type thing for a primary in a lot of cases.
Right. Okay. So I tweeted this out because it bothered me. It bothered me that the Zela was the only one, and so what they were saying was that there was this small pool of weapons people were choosing from because of this damage color. And I tweeted out that, oh great, we went from this small pool of weapons to one specific weapon. And when you told me, Agrios, that there wasn't that nobody had data mined any weapons that had elements on them, I thought to myself, and I believe I said this to you at the time, that I thought that their solution was that what you were going to get from this raid, this hard mode raid, was an item that you could use to attach to any primary that you wanted, whatever color that you wanted, because that to me says we
And
want a
that's the
larger pool of
solution
weapons.
right there.
Koth,
That's
make
it
it
right
the
there.
artifact.
You hear what Remy said? That's what you need to do.
Right. Right. So then instead of having to worry about this small group, people could decide for themselves what they wanted to put on each of these weapons. Then that would add a layer of collectibles, like, well, I need another DIS 47 in Arc at this point, and so River tweeted to me that he wasn't impressed with the Zalo Supercell, and I thought to myself, this must mean that River doesn't have one, because it's
I'm
awesome.
impressed with it.
It's awesome, and it's fun, and its bonuses are cool. Sometimes you're shooting these characters and lightning will arc to the people around it, and if you get a double kill, then ammo is refunded to you, and it's also arc. So River, do you have this weapon?
Oh,
River, are you still there? River said his goodbyes a long time ago while I was rambling on and on. He's like, look at you guys, I gotta go. And I'm like, blah, 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 Destiny, blah, 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 blah. River, I think he went potty.
I'll chime in until he gets back.
Okay,
I think the weapon, or the thing that changes the elemental type on your primary should just be your artifact.
Oh, man. That would be crazy.
Well, then you got to make other ways to get like 300 and 310 artifacts in the game. You can't only have one and then be stuck with that elemental color forever. I mean,
what do you mean, like the 310 one that you get randomly for finishing the quest to get?
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like you get a 300 one for completing a quest, and then later you get a 310 one for completing the quest. And other than that, it's like next to impossible to get any higher than 290 something artifacts.
Well, yeah, it is impossible because there's no way for you to. The only way that you can get a different artifact to 310 is to infuse it into the current 310, and even then, it's only going to be like 308.
Yeah, exactly. If you're lucky.
Yeah,
it'd be 307 actually.
So there needs to be a way to upgrade artifacts because we only have one artifact option at max level.
Well, I mean, this is not an unsolvable problem. And my thought on that is due to the fact that you can take you can take rare sparrows and add that thruster to them that changes the color of their trail. Yep. I mean, so what it would be is you would get an item and whatever thing you had in the slot, just like the speeder, it would just infuse that color to that thing. Like it wouldn't even be something that you would need to have any changes to the weapon set as it is. Like you wouldn't need to add another node.
After you told me this, my brain elaborated on it and said, now this would be cool. Same system like you were talking about, like the Sparrow upgrade, engine upgrade type thing. Only when you went to the upgrade item and clicked on it, it would bring up a list of available weapons that you have on you that you could apply it to.
Oh, yeah.
And it would go even farther than that. It could just simply be a solar weapon upgrade or an arc weapon upgrade or a void weapon upgrade. And you could actually use it to add it to a primary. Or if you have this really sweet shotgun that's void and you really wished it were arc, you could add it to that to change it.
Oh man, we're talking about another level of collectability here because sometimes I will keep getting these sidearms that are all solar for some reason, and being able to change one of those.
You get 3 sweet ones, but but then the one you get in a different element sucks, and you're like, oh, if I could only just change one of these solar ones over, well, this would answer all the problems.
Right. It seems pretty sustainable to me. Crimson Warlock, what do you think about all this?
I really like the idea, but at the same time, like, to me, it feels like another level of RNG that we'd have to be subject to. And I'm kind of getting really sick of being double and triple layered of RNG.
They might as well have named this game rare. RNG.
Oh, I know.
These things wouldn't have to be that rare, though. They could hand these things out like candy for people to play with and change their weapons all the time. These could be things that they could put there so people didn't feel so bad about not getting something really awesome. because they're not upgrading the power of anything, except maybe your primary. You might consider if you had a blank primary, put an element and not upgrading the power. But if you're changing a primary to a different element or changing one of your other ones to a different element, you're not really upgrading the power of the weapon.
Yeah, you
Right.
are.
So they could really hand these things out like candy.
I think, though, if they really wanted to not devalue your secondary and heavy weapons, they probably shouldn't have a modifier called small arms.
Well, I don't know.
'Cause-
I mean, I feel like that's a legitimate.
I think they mean devalue based on what you're going to choose to run guns over another, not really devalue the slot in any given circumstance. I think they mean like because you need to run a long distance weapon in this element and that's your primary, that's going to affect your secondary, and you're going to be forced to run an element different than your primary in your secondary because of the element of your primary. And if they take that away, it's just not forcing any of those changes.
Well,
Yeah,
with trials, wasn't the lighthouse weapons? Didn't they have different
did.
elements to them?
Did.
So I don't see why they couldn't do that again for trials and for the hard mode raid or something. It's just, your weapon does get a random elemental roll onto it.
Yeah,
Well,
but
Well, they don't want to. They don't want to
They're
give
saying-
any elements.
Getting so few of those weapons, like however many, maybe you can only make it to the lighthouse once or twice. So now you have a scout rifle with Void. Well, first off, you're not going to run any other rifle that doesn't have an element over the rifle that has Void because you might as well have an element on it. And then 2nd off, that's going to dictate what you run in your secondary and heavy because you already have Void covered with your primary. So you're not going to want to run a Void secondary too. So I think those are the two aspects they didn't like about having the Void primary is super rare. So I think what it looked like to them was a choice where either we have to make it so all primaries can be elements all over the place or take it away altogether.
well, I mean, what they wanted to avoid was that people were only using raid weapons anymore. Like that's what they wanted to avoid. They wanted to avoid, once you picked up your raid weapons, you didn't use any other legendaries.
And depending on your collection, a casual player might only even have one raid weapon. So then not only is it only the raid weapons, it's only that one raid weapon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. It's not too much different than running the raid and getting a 303 auto rifle that is terrible, but that's the only weapon you can run because it's the only thing that drops above 300 for you.
But you can take that and fuse that into a 297 regular rifle, and now that regular rifle that you liked already is 306. You don't have to keep the raid one.
Or they could just make the primary infusion also infuse the element.
Right. Well, I think that's basically what Remy's talking about. Only he's just talking about making these elemental items independent of the weapons altogether, so that you could just get them as extra items and apply them to the weapons.
Right. You got a down and doubt that you really love that you want to carry with you everywhere. Here's where you do it. You throw that elemental on there. Or what about raid weapons drop with elementals, but you can break them down, and you can get an item from that breakdown that will infuse into something else. I mean, there's a ton of ways to look at it, but I think that it was a mistake to have one weapon in the game that has an element on it, because I carried that supercell with me everywhere. It's fun. I mean, I wouldn't use it. I'll tell you what, I would not use it if it didn't have that element. It's a lot of fun. It sounds great. I love the perks on it. River, you were missing a minute ago when I asked you about this, and you haven't had a chance to respond. I told the whole story about how I went to Twitter and moaned about how now instead of a small pool of weapons that have elements and that's the only things people use, that I said that I thought it was rude that they were only going to have one that everyone was going to use, and then you came out of the woods and you smacked down my fucking three-pointer, and you said, well, I don't even really like it. And so I was asking if you have it or if you're just talking smack because you don't have it. Do you have it?
Yeah, I got a 310 supercell.
And you don't think that the fact that sometimes when you're shooting an enemy, lightning arcs to the other characters, or if you get a double kill, you get ammo refunded right to your magazine?
And super energy.
I mean, sounds great, but that's probably why I don't like it, because I don't have those unlocked yet.
Oh, wait, yeah, you have to fill it all out, because not only that, but when you get that final stability perk on it and stuff, it brings it right into handleable. It's like not all over the place too much anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's
It's
really cool.
spectacular in CQC. Like, for instance, anywhere there's a large amount of enemies, like thralls coming at you, and anywhere you don't have to take dudes out at too far of a distance, although it does go really far, it's miraculous. Like that one part when you're running down that sloped bridge, and like all those thralls come running out, like a whole big line of them in order. You can just start shooting them and never take your finger off the trigger and never reload or anything, and just plow right through all of them with arc flying everywhere. It's spectacular.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's really awesome. I leveled that thing up instantly because it only takes, what was it, Jez, like 15 motes of light to just level it up instantly.
Or less with a telemetry.
Yeah, pretty much.
But yeah, it's. Why don't you?
I'd like to go back to something Jez said real quick, because I responded to him, and I think it was a great idea, even aside from what we were talking about with the whole items that you thought of, Remy, where he said about when you infuse an item, if it took its element, that would be cool. I think it would be even cooler if, like, when you infuse something, it gave you the option of which element to keep, either the one the item it has or the one you're infusing it with. Like, would you like arc or solar on this afterward? That would be really cool.
Yeah, I agree.
I have a system idea.
Do it.
I'm not sure if you guys said this already, so I'm just going to go ahead with it. But what if we had like some extra slots next to our primary, secondary, and heavy weapon slots in the character screen? And it's just like some sort of elemental crystal that we would equip. And it would only stay there for however long or for however many, missions or something like that. And it would be the element type that you want those particular slots to be.
Interesting. That's an interesting, like a consumable. Man, that really takes the
Buy them from Tess Everest for $7.99.
Oh, why, Jez? Why, Jez?
As long as they stack, I'm happy. If they come in stack,
like you can switch out whatever weapons you want as many times as you want, or maybe even like switch it twice or something like that. Just having another equipable slot. But that would be barring last gen. And also, I don't like the idea of elemental primaries anyways. And that's it.
You're a funny guy, River.
Yeah, thanks.
You're a funny guy. Why don't you like elemental primaries?
Well, like you were saying, it's like with the Supercell, for a lot of people, that's like the go-to gun that they want to use. It's not mine personally. I find some other weapons a little more reliable for my playstyle. But having non-elemental primaries kind of opens up the field to you making whatever choice that you want in your primary slot.
I know that's why infusing it like we do with speeders, like that's why that would be cool. That's exactly why that would be cool. Because you're totally right. You want to use whatever you want to use. And then if we were to infuse it like you do with those engines, those special engines for the speeders, taking a rare bike and putting a new mod onto it, like that would satisfy that same thing that you're talking about.
Then you close off the opportunity to switch out to something else that you might discover and that you might like better.
Well, they just got to give it to us.
They got with an elemental primary on it.
Well, no, they just have to have that drop more often than never. So I just wanted to say right now before we move on that I was way right last week or the week before. I don't remember when it was that that they were talking about the Eververse things, and they were talking about, make sure that you don't have a bunch of stuff waiting for you at Katie, and I said, or I started to say about my tinfoil hat, that we were about to see an influx of items from her. And then you guys talked me down because I'm usually wrong about these things. And it turns out that I was right, fools.
They're about to drop a package in there because that's where you got your legendary package. So if they drop that in there and people had their banks already full, it was going to bump an item out of your bank, or out of your postmaster, rather.
Right.
So that's part of, I think, the warning is that legendary package was inbound.
All right, so we have about 10 minutes left.
Okay.
Why don't you wrap up what we got in the next 5 minutes, and then we'll do shout-outs, and then we'll split.
Okay, I'm going to give a couple important pointers, and then the last thing for discussion. Okay, I know it's going to be short. So, a couple things for pointers. We found out this week that the if you're at least 311 plus, there's a 100% chance that exotic engrams will decrypt into a 310 exotic. We found out that the Will of Light bonus damage to taken is approximately 10%, which is pretty hefty. If you tether a guardian near the rift, he cannot dunk it. In
Interesting.
Rift.
That's awesome. That's great news.
If you have the elite controller, be careful how you program your buttons. A guardian this week programmed his X button and his A button to the paddles in the back, and the way he set those paddles up, when he puts his controller down, they'd get depressed. You have to double tap the sync button to disable the buttons before you set it down. He always does that. Well, he went to Destiny LFG and he was gone so long that the controller turned off, and when he turned it back on, apparently it also turns off the sync button disabler, and it auto-deleted his primary guardian.
Oh, man.
And not only that, because of the way the buttons were pushed, it started taking a clip and recorded itself deleting his guardian.
Oh,
man.
That's rough.
The guardian recorded it so he could watch it happen later.
Man, that's really the right thing to do. That's really the right thing to do. I feel like there's a lot of learning there, you know.
All kinds of gear, 313 raid machine gun, all kinds of nice stuff.
I think it's about time we got a lock button on the main screen.
Right? I've been wondering that for a while. We got lock buttons for individual weapons. We definitely should have a lock button for the first one. That's just horrifying. That's horrifying. I've actually been thinking about that a lot lately, and I've been making sure to keep the controllers out of my kids' hands and out of their reach because I couldn't even imagine. I couldn't even tell you, like, you know what would be the worst part?
Okay.
The worst part of having any one of my guardians deleted, even my main, even the one that I don't use the most, or the one that I use the very least, is that I would have no way of knowing what that character had on him. And it would just, like, the next 6 months of my playing would be like, oh man, you know, like, I wonder where that sniper went. Oh, I bet it's on that character. Like, instead of getting a list of everything you just burned to the ground, you would just be constantly thinking, like, well, what did I have on that character? Why did I leave that engram on that character? Like, I could have moved all that to my other character, and you know, like, that would be the worst.
With the nature of Destiny and the time people have invested, I believe they should have a better security feature on that. CCP, the makers of EVE Online, they use a good feature. It's in their game EVE Online, and it's also in their PS3 free-to-play Dust 514. If you go to delete your character, it asks you, pops up again, are you sure? You click the button and it says, yes, you're sure. And then it goes into a 24-hour termination notice. There's like a little thing over that, and you can cancel the deletion of that character anytime within 24 hours. You can't start a new character either, but you're forced to wait 24 hours to delete a character, and you can cancel it anytime in that range. And that's what Destiny should have, something like that. So if somebody hacks your account, as long as you get it back and stop it within 24 hours, you won't lose that character.
Yeah.
I know a lot of MMOs use you have to type in delete or the character's name in order to actually delete them.
That's really smart.
So
you have to really try to delete.
It's just too easy right now. That's the bottom line.
So coming up on November 1st, the time will change, meaning that the changeover time each night will change for many of us. It goes from 5 a.m. on the East Coast to 4 a.m. For me. I believe UK Guardians already had their time change. I'm not entirely sure if they
did
or not. Yeah, I thought so. But yeah, ours is on November 1st, so keep that in mind for getting your dailies and stuff done before reset. It'll be 1 a.m. Pacific that change is going to go to. Last week, Zur sold Skull of the Ahamkara for the first time. This was a previously unavailable exotic in Year 2. Even after purchasing it, the helmet does not appear in your weapon blueprint, so be careful not to delete it.
Oh, man. crazy. Well, someone's pulling a Blue Man Group. Who was that?
That was my girlfriend knocking over some bottles. But the last thing I have here is Luke Smith talked about a challenge mode this week. You haven't even done much. You haven't even done much yet on the raid. In hard mode, all of the boss fights have a new mechanic, a new element. There's also a challenge mode, a particular way of killing a raid boss that gets you a special emblem and a reward. Mathematically, you've only seen or completed 5/13 of the raid. Bungie then said challenges are coming to King's Fall soon, both normal and hard. For now, we're working on how they'll reward you. Raid challenges are not currently active. The final 3 fragments are among their rewards. More info in several weeks.
Oh, man. Excellent. That sounds like a lot of fun. Wish we could talk about it right now. Why don't you guys decide what, think of what you think is going to change or what you would like to see changed, and we will talk about that next week. But right now, our time is out, so we got to do shout-outs, starting with Agrios.
Shout out to all the Guardian 1 members that I ran with for the first time this week. Red Lion, for instance, and a couple others I befriended for the first time this week. Red Lion helped get me through Oryx finally for the first time, and then the last week. So shout out to all of them for that.
Red Lion's awesome, yes. Jez.
This is going to be quite obscure, but shout out to Wacky Twilight. She draws a lot of the D&D stuff that when me and Datto and Merrick and Zepic and Leopard and a house, the list goes on, and Bones all play D&D. She's been drawing these I don't know what to call them, like intro panels of what the episode that we just did was, and they're awesome.
That's cool.
Love the D&D stuff.
That's cool. I'm so jealous of all that. I want to play D&D with you guys so bad. It just seems like so fun. Jealous. Shout out. Good job. Crimson Warlock.
My shout out this week is going to someone who will never listen to this shout out, but it's my cousin, because he's been helping me get my Halloween costume together in this last 2 weeks.
Yeah, what is
it? My son chose what we are this year, and he wanted to be Toothless, and so I am Hiccup from How to Train Your Dragon 2.
So cool!
Nice.
That's so cool.
Nice. Pictures. We want to see pictures.
I can get pictures.
Definitely. River.
Shout out to Dr. Professor David Weeks. He's heading up the Extra Life campaign this year once again, and we are also participating in Extra Life campaign once again. The stream's going to be starting on November 7th at 7 p.m. Eastern until November 9th at about 3 a.m. Eastern. And we'll be closing that out from 1 to 3 on the 9th. That's us, Guardian 1.
Awesome.
On the PlayStation IV.
Excellent.
So, I know. Awesome. If you guys go ahead and subscribe to the Twitch channel, Guardians_give_back. And let's see. Let me open up the stock here real quick. Just a sample. No, this is everyone who's participating, basically. Oh, no. Wrong freaking email. Go back. Go back.
Okay.
Because I got several of them. This is one where it was like, okay, here we go. All right, Guardian Outpost, Resolute, Mesa Sean. I almost said Misa. Destiny follower,
I thought it was
Defdel. It's Mesa Sean. Aim Assist Gaming, Sweet Scoped, IG Knight, Datto, Guardian Radio, Crucible Radio, GTL Outlaws, Lady Desiree, Shariana, Planet Destiny, Triple Wreck, Dungeon Protocols, and then us. Save the best for last.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Thank you.
So
Okay. My shout out is to Agrios. Because my time has been really limited recently, and I've asked for help from people in the group, and people have just been busy. Life is just busy for people, and so I've just stopped asking for help, and I've just been trying to do whatever I'm going to do on my own. And Agrios keeps popping up like this playful puppy with a ball, and saying like, "Well, do you want to play some Destiny?" And well, yeah, totally. I'm playing Destiny right now. Like, let's do this. And it feels really good to just have that this built-in friendship. Like, hey, let's play some Destiny. Like, it feels really good to get all that stuff done. And I'm happy to even just help him with missions, because it really is a different game playing Destiny by yourself, playing Destiny with somebody else, playing Destiny with a friend. So thank you out to Agrios. I think you guys might have heard of him once or twice. And that wraps up episode 63. I'd like to thank everyone listening for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you have any questions or suggestions for topics to be discussed on the show, please leave them in the comments below or send them to feedback@guardian1.net, and we will see you next week.